you know what? I haven't actually done a Q&A with the Floatplane peeps yet, but I guess they can ask me some questions now. I'll do a stream a little bit later with you guys. I did say I would do that in the video, but in summary, if you somehow managed to miss the video that we uploaded yesterday, which I think is probably not a thing because it has 4 million views or something like that already. Yes, it's true. I will be stepping down as CEO of Linus Media Group and all its affiliated companies. This isn't really a decision that happened overnight. I think for some people, they probably feel like it did. I saw a lot of people asking, like, was it the backpack controversy that precipitated... I'm sitting here going, no. No, I actually did not lose any sleep over the backpack controversy, or actually really any of the major controversies this week. I've definitely been like annoyed and frustrated, but no, I haven't lost any sleep over them, because the thing is, I think a lot of people probably don't realize this, but I am inside my own head. And so I know if a major community concern is actually going to be a problem in the long term. And if it's not, then I just get to do what I'm going to do, and you guys will see, and everything will be fine. So I didn't lose a ton of sleep, even if some people did. But I would say that it's more just a cumulative effect. I mean, I think Luke could probably speak to this more than me, but I am not a detail-oriented person. And, you know, what's funny is that I can be very thorough in certain ways. Like, I can come in, even for something that I don't work with day to day, and I can go, hey, have you considered A, B, and X and Y ways that we could potentially improve the workflow here? Or you know, from time to time, again, like I'm not saying I'm some kind of genius. I think I'm above average, but definitely not genius. But I can come in and suggest something, even in fields where I have like no experience. Whether it's, I think the solution we found for one of our upcoming screwdriver products was actually suggested by me. And it was one of my favorite moments ever, because I was like, hey, Kyle, did we think of this? And he's like, no, actually. And I'm like, would that work? He's like, yeah, I think so. Like, yes,
got him.
I can't
Those are
remember.
fun moments.
I can't remember a specific one, but I remember suggesting something like development related to you at some point. And I was like, if this is dumb, feel free to tell me, because I know I couldn't write a line of code to save my life. And you're like, no, a lot of code is just math and logic, and that's actually a really logical way to solve the problem, and that might actually work. I don't remember if we ended up implementing it, but it was like not stupid. But here's my problem. My follow-up on any of that is basically zero. My ability to document a new process that I come up with, whether it's myself or working collaboratively with someone, is basically zero. I mean, I remember James giving me a really hard time because he's sitting here going, I'm trying to manage this writing department. I'm trying to create documents and processes and like training procedures. And what I'm finding is that basically, other than you just talking to people and brain dumping on them anytime you see a problem, we don't have any. And I'm like, yeah, pretty much. I mean, it worked for you, right? He's like, oh my, that's not the point, Linus. Because we have so many more people now, right?
Yeah.
And it's
my biggest pain point is related to that, but essentially it's the transitioning from small to medium business. Like disseminating information now is kind of hard. I even ran into an issue where like I need to look into if I can mute reaction notifications on Teams. Because I like posted that Floatplane updated and people should use it in a different way. And then my Teams was just constantly going off for the rest of the day. I was like, well, this is actually really annoying. Like it's actually distracting at this point. Like, I don't know.
I had something today where we had an issue with a shoot this morning where actually, no, I should back up. We had an issue with a shoot late yesterday where I arrived on set and it was set up for a static A cam with an operated B cam on sticks or on a tripod. And I was looking at it going, hey, so I know that we recently reminded the writers and the production team that they're supposed to have a B-roll meeting before the B-roll is shot for a video. But it occurs to me that I don't think we ever formally said you can stop having an A-roll meeting. And clearly that, did that happen here? And the answer was no. And I'm like, so you guys haven't looked at the script together yet. And it was mostly pretty new faces, relatively speaking. So it's not like I'm mad at anyone or anything like that. But it was pretty obvious based on the kind of video that it was that a static camera wasn't going to work at all. There were little things that I need to hold up and show to the camera, and then practical demonstrations that I needed to do that involved walking from one side of a table to another and plugging things in.
Ready for that stuff.
Yeah, and the camera operator, again, relatively new. I'm not going to name any names. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. The camera operator's like, yeah, well, I'm just going to follow you. And I'm like, okay, but you gotta think end to end here, right? What if I move in a way that's unexpected? Now we have a delay while you track me. We have a second delay while you focus. Heaven forbid you need to alter your zoom or something like that, or we're going to be stacking delay upon delay upon delay. I'm going to have moved on by the time you've actually got me centered in the frame. And he's like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, so that's a challenge that we've got to deal with here. And what I feel like, that's kind of how I phrased it, is that you guys haven't really synced up on how this is supposed to be shot. Because this is more than words on a page, right? This is a Bible for creating this video, like this script. So what I want you guys to do is spend the rest of the day, because this was pretty close to the end of the day. We would have barely been able to get it shot. So it's not like they were going to do this and then we were going to finish shooting it. So I was like, okay, spend the rest of the day. I'll go do something else, make myself busy. That's not hard. Go through it, and then we'll pick this up again tomorrow morning. I arrive tomorrow morning. Now the plan is, I believe, still to shoot on sticks? No, the plan is, I don't remember what the plan is. But yeah, no, the plan, I don't remember the plan. But the plan was bad. In a nutshell, because we had created some props to do the demos that I was going to do from one side or the other, but the props were not applicable. And then I was supposed to do something where I'm holding something up, and the cable that connected it was so long. It was like a 4-foot long cable that in order for me to show how it was connected, I would have had to have my arms like this, and the framing would have been so wide, you wouldn't have been able to see the things in my hands. And I was like, you know what I think just happened here is you guys have never done this before. And I basically just assumed that you would just know. Tell you what, let's rewind. I'm going to do this with you. I will do the read through the script and show you guys what's in my head and why. So it needs to start on a close-up. And the reason it needs to start on a close-up is because the title and thumbnail is this. And we need to see this product right away. It needs to go wide, and that has to be done with a zoom, not with a post-production punch-in, because the previous shot needs to be quite detailed. Then I'm going to talk for a little bit here. And this is too long. This is too long for me to be standing and presenting. So when we get to this point, we need to do some kind of transition so that I'm in kind of talking to you and showing you something rather than presenting to you. And that's really important. You've got to remember the way that people talk to each other. The camera is the eyes of another participant in what is essentially just a one-sided conversation, if you think of it that way. Like that's the point. That's the whole point of YouTube, is that they're not necessarily talking to the other characters on camera. I mean, they can be, but it's for you. It's personal, right? And so if we're not engaging in that way, if you're not coming in close and tilting the camera down a little bit as I show you something, it's going to feel unnatural to the viewer, even though they have no idea why. And so I did this little workshop, and the point, which I'm finally coming around to,
it's a long story,
is that I did this workshop for like 4 people. And I realized after I was done that there's at least another 4, probably more like another 14 that need to know that, and now it's lost forever. Whoops. So how do we fix that? Do I just like start selfie camera recording myself giving this workshop? Do we send it to everybody after? Sometimes, I mean, you know me, and sometimes I don't even know I'm about to...
For Floatplane, we have a thing called a knowledge base.
But how do I get what just happened in it?
Yeah, so in this case, you would have to record it.
Yeah.
And then you would put it in a knowledge base, title it properly, and then people could look it up whenever they want.
I don't always know when I'm about to do a knowledge base article. That's my problem. Well, it's one of my problems.
You'd have to redo it at that point, pretty much, unfortunately. Because once you did it once and you had that recognition that, like, this is information people should be able to look up, then you'd have to do it again.
Yeah.
But then he doesn't have time.
Yeah.
If only there was 4 people that you just gave a workshop to who could pool their knowledge.
Yeah. The thing is, I especially don't have time to redo the workshop, so I should do it once. But the problem too is that the meta is always changing. Like if I record something like that today, I mean, some of it is usable forever. You have to plan for what the visual is going to be. You have to actually not just look at the script and make sure you've got everything on the props list. You've got to think about, what is he supposed to hold up when he's reading this paragraph? If somebody isn't standing right out of frame, ready to toss it or ready to hand it, then we have to stop the shoot, get someone in position, and restart the shoot. That is incredibly disruptive to our workflow. And we waste a ton of time with me arriving on set going, hey, this is great. You brought this HDMI cable, but did you bring the adapter that we need to plug it into this ancient GPU that doesn't have HDMI? No. Okay, well, I guess we'll go get that. Oh no, now we keep all our inventory over at the lab. It's going to cost us like 20 minutes to go get this thing. Like, we waste so much time. And so what I'm hoping is that if I can focus more on this type of thing, on helping people think visually, I guess, and more thoroughly, then maybe I will be able to be in more videos. I've been in like 2 short circuits in the last 2.5 months or something like that. I love short circuit. Short circuit is so easy. It's like YouTuber easy mode. The story is the product in front of you.
It's like how Linus Tech Tips started.
Yeah, it's like
because it was easy.
I could do short circuit in my sleep, and I actually I kind of enjoy it because I can just sit and kind of experience the product. I don't have to think about hosting it. Like when I was doing the D-brand Nintendo Switch, Tears of the Kingdom edition or whatever. I'm just having fun. I don't care.
There was obviously they were way worse than what Short Circuit is currently, but there was an era where we'd do like 8 of those an hour.
Oh man, they are going to be good though. That's the other thing, is I want my role as chief vision officer to be really focused in the early days on getting the lab and the writing team synergized. Because right now, the writing team is really great at creativity. I mean, okay, I'm not singling anyone out, but I'm going to give a gold star to Adam from the writing team. Like, that guy writes intros sometimes that I just look at and I go
where did this come from?
Yeah.
How did you? Yeah.
Okay, he's the one who wrote the cheerleader thing for Chromebooks or whatever, where we had he wrote this cheer for it and everybody has pom-poms and everything. And I'm looking at this going I mean, I love it, but really? Yeah. And to his credit, he's actually pretty darn good when it comes to understanding the analytical side of things too. He's actually done some really good work that you guys will see eventually, at some point with a new product release of some sort that will have a lot of graphs. Anyway, he's done some really good work on graphing for us and automating taking in that lab's data. But the writing team, by and large, is really, really great creatively and really, really passionate about technology, but not necessarily as scientifically rigorous as the labs team, which is made up of engineers, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the labs team is really good at nailing down process. They're trying to figure out ISO, whatever the crap, and I'm just kind of sitting here going, I just want to know if it's loud, But obviously, I let them do their thing because that's why we hire good people who want to ISO whatever stuff. The point is, those guys are really great at being super analytical, but they don't always necessarily see the content in what they're doing. Like the labs has given pushback on a concept where I wanted to just like grab the cheapest power supplies that we had kicking around here and see how many of them we could blow up with the power supply tester before we got the proper oscilloscope and all the training on it. And they're like, but that's not very, you know, so I'm like, I don't care. It's a sick power supply tester. It's got a load generator module in it. Let's blow up some cheap power supplies.
We can make power supply go boom.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. They're like, I really think we should wait until whatever.
Which one blue flames the most?
I mean, you could wait forever. You could wait forever to do things the mostest properly. I want to make content about the process. Like, do you have any idea how advanced Markbench is right now?
Somewhat, yeah.
Markbench is incredible.
Yeah.
And nobody told me anything. The last time anybody gave me an update on Markbench, it was just pretty much an auto hotkey script that would automatically, not quite. It wasn't much more sophisticated than that, though. This was back when they were still working upstairs here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The last time anybody updated me on Markbench, it was pretty much an auto hotkey script that would just kind of cycle through the buttons in the menu to run a canned benchmark. It was pretty unsophisticated. It was something that I'm sure reviewers around the world have been doing basically since the dawn of time.
Yeah, we got roasted for it, and I was like, guys, this is not the end goal. Like, relax. Do you remember that? That was so annoying.
Do you know what it can do now? Okay, it uses, so there's a head unit. You guys are going to see this in more detail. You're going to see this in action in the upcoming labs tour. But there's a head unit that sits under the desk that right now is monitoring the output with like API. So what's actually running the API? So that would be on the, you don't even know this.
What are you saying right now? Are you talking OCR when it's reading the screen?
Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, something's running an API and something hooks in. One of them hooks into the other. So it must be the clients that are hooking into the server machine.
I'm not entirely sure which part of the chain you're talking about right now, but
it doesn't matter.
Yes.
The point is there's a head unit that is monitoring the screen outputs of all three of the stations and can apparently scale beyond that. And it is basically looking for text. So OCR is optical character recognition. And what that does is it tells it, hey, there's an unexpected state here, and it can log that and spit out errors. And get this, it gets even better. It can actually use that optical recognition of what's going on the screens to chop down all the footage we record of the benchmarks and gameplay so that either we could splice them together if we wanted to show actual gaming footage off of these cards for the final video, or we could automatically edit them together if the labs tech or if the writer wanted to just see if anything anomalous happened in terms of image quality.
It's a very good idea to have. It's something that we've talked about since the beginning.
It does error handling. So if a benchmark crashes, it'll say, hey, we're on the main menu right now. That's probably not where we're supposed to be. It can navigate menus. So what we saw running is that now it can navigate menus, and then it's a separate thing that is also running on the head unit, I believe, that can handle input as well. So in our upcoming reviews of products that we'll have at some point that will have lots of graphs, NDA, we are going to have gaming benchmarks for games that do not have built-in benchmarks, which is so cool because we can just navigate the menu, open up a save, move our character. We've got it down to about, I think 1% is the target. I think we've got 2 games that are able to achieve within 1% run-to-run variance, which is so cool.
And we don't have to, because we used to do this, but it was like an insane volume of manual work. No longer.
Yeah, not anymore. And it wasn't as reproducible, whereas now the whole thing is being input by machine.
It's pretty sick.
No one thought to tell me this! We could have made an entire video about the progress on Markbench, and now it's just bundled into some lab update, which is fine, We should do a lab update, and I guess now you guys get the information even more packed, but they are doing so much cool stuff over there that we are not making videos about.
How often do you want, do you consider oversaturation?
In what sense?
Like if we had 2 videos on various Markbench milestones between the last 2 things, between the last video we did on labs and this most recent update, is that too much?
It's more that I think in the labs update, we wouldn't include Markbench then. We would just talk about other stuff. But Markbench could have been its own video for sure. And really what it comes down to, like how often we should release a new video about Markbench, comes down to title and thumbnail. If we have a title, so
that would kind of require probably what you're saying, like more integration of you into what they're doing.
Yeah. So that I could tell them, hey, this is super
this
cool.
This is titleable.
Yes.
I can make this clicky.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the key, right? Because that's what makes something a YouTube video. I don't need anything other than a title and thumbnail, and I can probably entertain for anywhere from 9 to 15 minutes without too much difficulty. But what I really need is a title and thumbnail. So, okay, let's say that Markbench got more powerful, and all of a sudden, for the machine vision, it needs an upgrade. And by the way, we're going to parallelize all the benchmarking that we're doing to an even greater degree. And there's a couple of more harnesses for new games. I'm going, let's go. Okay. All the stations need to be up on a rack. And I've got a gaming headset on in the thumbnail. And I've got like a controller or a keyboard mouse. I'm like I am benchmarking 12 computers, and they're all there or whatever. Boom, easy. People will click on that, no problem. And then we just explain all those things and show how it's all working. And we go through this story of how machine vision works and why we needed a more powerful GPU in order to run more stations at once. Why we didn't need a more powerful CPU, or why we did need more RAM. What did we need? What didn't we need? How does the storage for all of this work? How does the storage for all this work? Is it actually storing like screen recording from all of them, or like what are we doing here?
I believe so. To a certain degree.
Okay, so we found this motherboard with 12 PCIe slots, so we could fill it with capture cards. Like, I don't know, but let's tell that story, darn it.
Some amount. I think it might be temporal. I don't remember. I need to spend more time with that.
Exactly. They're over there doing the coolest stuff in this entire stupid building.
Floatplane's been pants on fire for a long time, so I've been neglecting.
Yeah, I get it, and I'm not talking about any of it. So I'm excited. I'm excited. That's gonna be really awesome. And I think that given that the lab is the biggest investment we've made into moat building pretty much since we started the company, if we are not utilizing it properly, that's going to be terrible. The reason I started talking about the lab though was what I'm really excited about is what's going to be happening for Short Circuit. Man, we are going to be able to do like 8-minute power supply videos that are literally everything you could possibly need to know about it. Don't even bother looking at the manufacturing website. That PSU tester is so cool. And the person who's been brought in to operate it has been really great so far, apparently. And we're really, really, really excited. It's going to be set up and ready to go, hopefully in the next few weeks. And the first video we have planned is going to be like a sub $40 power supply roundup. Because isn't that what we need to know? With basic equipment, like what a lot of other sites are using, you can tell if it's going to immediately set your computer on fire. But which one is actually good?
Don't know.
I don't know.
Don't know. There's a bunch of that type of content that hasn't been... What were we talking about recently? Cell phones and their signal stuff.
Who has better reception? I don't know.
That used to be something that was in a lot of cell phone reviews.
Oh, for sure.
People would talk about it all the time, and then it hasn't been a thing for quite a while now.
Yep. Well, it was really hard to do. It was really hard to do repeatably without really sophisticated equipment.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons why it actually faded away was a lot of the testing that was being done was kind of junk.
Yeah.
So either just kind of stopped doing it.
Either they were a site that or an outlet that didn't care and didn't bother, or they were a site or outlet that did care and realized that what they were doing was worthless.
Yeah.
So goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited about power supplies. We're really excited about what we're going to be able to do with RF, man. I found out how much that RF chamber cost.
You didn't know?
I didn't.
I did.
I didn't.
Yeah.
So
It's a cool room.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool room.
Yeah. I thought it was six figures. I didn't think it was deep six figures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But I gotta shout out Raymond DMC. Apparently we're doing some cross promotional, like we're doing some marketing for them, and it's not costing a lot or something. I don't know the exact deal, but we have a video coming on our RF chamber soon, and it's freaking sick.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
It's genuinely very cool.
Like really amazing. Really excited about that. So there's the RF chamber, there's power supplies. Man, GPU testing is going to be amazing with some of the changes to Markbench. We were already running new fresh benchmarks for every review, and you guys are going to continue to see that, which I'm not sure who else is actually doing that right now, because it's extremely time consuming. And with the kind of crunch that you're operating on for these GPU reviews, it's really, really tough to do. But we are going to be doing even more testing. I'm just trying to think like what else is kind of shaking. So that's it. I am the Chief Vision Officer. Oh yeah, the moat building, right? So when I say moat building, the goal is not to like aggressively, attack other media outlets. That's why I referred to it as a moat and not as like a catapult.
Defensive maneuver.
Trebuchet. Yeah, like the idea is just by elevating our content, by making things the best that we possibly can, we're putting ourselves in a position where other people are just going to have to make bigger investments if they want to match us for content. I had some people kind of criticize me for that, like moat building. And I guess there is kind of a negative connotation there, but shouldn't everyone be trying to do the absolute best they can to make the best content they possibly can?
I don't think that's the only approach either, to be honest, because we're doing like all of the things under the sun. And you could specialize.
Yeah, that's not really, is that really like, okay, sure. So what you're saying is like you would build your moat, but like a small moat around a small castle by like conquering a niche.
Yeah, because you were mentioning like, oh, other people are going to have to up their investment. It's like, well, not in the same way though.
Oh, sure. I see what you mean. Yeah, it could be in a smaller way around a smaller niche. Absolutely. I mean, I've talked about how I think in a big way that's the future of the platform.
Yeah.
Is smaller niche specialist channels. So the way that my vision kind of looks right now is we're going to have to find a way to match that. And I think the way to do that is by centralizing a lot of great testing with great testing equipment and really knowledgeable people generating data, and then taking that and disseminating it across a wide variety of channels, be they written or video or podcast or whatever it is that they are. That's the way that we're going to be able to leverage our strength, which is our size, while also competing with, scrappy, smaller operations. That's the vision. Chief Vision Officer. Let's go. Want to pick our next topic?
Are you tired of talking about it yet?
Which part of it?
Just any part of it. I feel like you've probably just had constant conversations since it was done.
Sort of, actually. You know what? Internally, only a couple of people messaged me after Monday morning meeting. Even externally, I only had maybe like half a dozen people message me about it. The thing is that I'm kind of antisocial, so I don't really talk to people. I messaged Taryn about it, obviously. He was like, hey, thanks for the heads up. And I was like...
Yeah. I had no idea it was coming. We pushed this like massive float plane update, and then it was like, well, happy it works.
Yeah, what did he say? I forget what he actually said about it. Yeah, thanks for the heads up. I go, haha, no problem. He goes, haha. I have random people I don't know messaging me already.
Dude, Reddit was covered in his face because people were just making memes about it and stuff. Generally, like, good-hearted, I think. So that's good.
Yeah, it's good. Overall, I've been really happy with the support from the community. Thank you so much, guys. I really do agree with most of the community that says they think this is going to be a positive change. I do too. I just... Oh man, what was some stupid administrative thing that I had to deal with this week? It doesn't matter. I think it's going to be hard to say without saying anything identifiable. It doesn't matter. Every time someone contacts me at this point about something that is not going to be my problem in 2 weeks, I'm just like, yeah. Oh, 2 weeks. Dang it, 6 weeks. I'm checked out already.
I just ask them every time, can this wait 6 weeks?
Yeah.
Does this have to be dealt with now?
I don't even have to do that. I can just ask them to wait 2 weeks and then do that again and then one more time.
That's the vision officer, dude.
Yeah, that's how I deal with family members that I don't want to see very often.
Just delay repeatedly?
Yeah. So what you do, what the key is...
what's happening with the workout day then?
No.
I'm kidding.
No, actually, that's a whole thing. So the trick is that you schedule something really far out, and then, but not so far out that they'll try to schedule something in between, but far out enough that, so first you wait as long as possible.
Right.
Then when it's finally time to do something, you schedule it for as far out as you can where there won't really be room to do something in between. And then you won't have to hear about it until then. Then you rinse and repeat. And that's how you can kind of get down from like monthly to realistically special occasions and like a couple of other times a year. That's the trick.
That's the strat.